All right, let's jump right into a topic that isn't just knocking on the classroom door, it's basically kicking it down and completely remodeling the whole schoolhouse. We're going to talk about how AI is finally dismantling an education system, a system that, hasn't really changed in over 100 years.
And this quote, this really gets right to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? Our schools were designed for the industrial age. I mean, a world that, frankly, just doesn't exist anymore. So the system we have right now, it's churning out graduates for a world that's already in the rearview mirror.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. What is it about this so-called factory model that makes it so completely out of sync with the world we live in today?
I mean, the contrast here is it's stark. On one hand, you've got the old model. It's all about teacher-centered instruction, rote memorization, rigid schedules. And on the other hand, you've got what the modern world is screaming for: critical thinking, problem solving, and personalized paths. And that gap, that huge gap between those two columns, that's where our education system is really struggling.
And here's the kicker, right? The actual blueprint for our schools is 150 years old. It was designed to create a compliant, uniform workforce for factories. This has created this massive one-size-fits-none problem. We're basically preparing students for our past, not for their future.
But here's where the whole story takes a massive turn. See, AI isn't just another shiny new tool. Nope, it's the catalyst, the spark for a completely new way of thinking about learning.
And listen, this isn't some pie-in-the-sky futuristic idea. Just look at this number, 86%. Education organizations are adopting generative AI faster than any other industry out there. The revolution isn't coming. It's already here, and man, is it moving fast.
And it's not just in one corner of the world. This is happening everywhere. We're talking about nearly all education leaders, 99%, plus 87% of educators and 93% of students have already used it. This isn't some niche thing. It's a huge system-wide shift that's unfolding as we speak. And check out how students are using it. They're not just asking for quick answers anymore. No, they're turning AI into a real conversation partner. To brainstorm assignments, summarize dense information, and get some initial feedback on their work. It's really becoming a collaborator for them.
And for teachers? Oh, it's an absolute game changer. It's like a productivity superpower. AI is handling so much of the grunt work. Lesson planning, creating materials, you name it. It's saving them precious hours every week. And that's time they can pour back into what really matters: actually inspiring, mentoring, and connecting with their students.
Sal Khan from Khan Academy, he just puts it perfectly. This has always been the dream, right? The idea of a personal tutor for every single student, and at the same time, a dedicated teaching assistant for every teacher. Well, AI is the thing that's finally making that dream possible on a massive scale.
So, the engine behind all of this is something called adaptive learning. And really, what it boils down to is this. It's about using AI to create a unique, personalized learning path for every single student. It adjusts the content, the pace, everything in real time based on how that student is doing.
And we're not just talking theory here, we're already seeing amazing results. You've got these innovative schools where students are flying through the traditional curriculum in like half the time. That frees them up to work on projects that actually matter in the real world. Learning to code, starting a small business, you name it.
Okay, but like any major revolution, this one has its growing pains. It's not a perfectly smooth ride. This incredibly fast adoption of AI is also creating a whole new set of really complex challenges that we absolutely have to figure out.
So we have to stop and ask the tough question here. As we're all racing into this new era, what are the hidden costs? What's the catch? Well, one of the first places we're seeing the impact is the job market. At companies that are really embracing AI, hiring for those entry-level junior positions has already dropped by 12%. Think about that. The very jobs that new graduates are supposed to get, they're starting to shrink.
And it goes way beyond just jobs. There's this whole ethical minefield we have to navigate. Like, how do we make sure the AI isn't just baking in all the societal biases from its training data? And what about data privacy? We're talking about vast amounts of sensitive student data. And then there's the big one. When an AI gets something wrong, who's accountable? These are not simple questions with easy answers.
And this is so interesting. It really highlights this huge disconnect in how people are seeing this. For educators, what's their number one concern? Plagiarism and cheating. Makes sense. But for students, Their top concern is being accused of plagiarism and cheating. They are looking at the exact same technology and worrying about completely opposite problems.
So, with all this change, what does it actually take to succeed in this new world? Because let's be clear, the skills that got you by yesterday, they're not the same skills that are going to get you hired tomorrow.
And if this doesn't spell it out, I don't know what will. 66%, 2/3 of business leaders say they wouldn't hire someone who doesn't have AI literacy skills. This is no longer a nice to have on your resume. It's becoming a flat-out requirement. You could say AI fluency is the new literacy.
So this means we need a completely new playbook. We have to start thinking of AI not as just a tool, but as a colleague, a creative partner. We also have to get really smart about what to delegate to AI versus what a human should do. And maybe most importantly, everyone, not just managers, is going to need to learn how to manage AI agents to get things done.
So what's the path forward? Well, first, schools and institutions need to set up really clear ethical guidelines and data privacy rules. That's non-negotiable. Second, we have to provide top-notch AI training for all educators. And third, and this is huge, AI literacy has to be built right into the student curriculum. And everyone, students, teachers, parents, needs a seat at the table when these strategies are being developed.
Look, the factory classroom is obsolete. It's a relic. The era of personalized, AI-powered education, it's already here. So the only real question left to ask is your learning, are you, ready for what comes next?